As a cadet, a grammar school cadet, we were attached to the Royal Artillery. And because my father was an ex-soldier, from being a little boy, he was always training me to march and how to use salutes and shoulder the arms and things with a little wooden gun. And I got quite good at this. So when I joined the cadets, I was quite okay with my marching and that, and I was chosen as the marksman. And when the officer, who was one of the staff who had been in the army, called me out, I used to march, and all the other lads went, oh, you know, look at him, and they had to join me on parade. We had no uniforms, but when the uniforms came, the officer put something in my hand. He said, now when you've got your uniform in order, I want you to sew these on. And he gave me 2 stripes. I was a Lance Bombardier. Up until going to camp, we've been training on rifles, and I was put to train on a Bren gun. There was a group of men, regular soldiers, going around these cadet courses, training on these armaments, and I got quite proficient on this Bren gun, managing to not get my fingers caught in the barrel when you were loading it. And at camp we went on a course, and I proved myself a worthy gunner. And when we'd finished the camping days, I was called out front, and I was awarded a marksman's badge for the Bren gun. And when I got back, the officer gave me 2 stripes and became a full bombardier. Yes, I'd be about 16.
About 16, 17?
Yeah, because I was 18 when I went to college. I had to go back for 12 months because although I'd won a scholarship, they couldn't take me because they did overstated the numbers, and I had to go back to college in the 6th form and carry on with prefect duties and all that sort of thing. And then when I finished college, school, I went to college till I was 24.
What were you studying at college?
Well, I was studying all forms of art, but specialising in interior design in the end, and which I never became an interior designer because I was interested in theatre work as well. I did a lot of amateur theatre work, both performing as actors and doing all the set designs and painting the scenery. And right up to being 24 when I got called up. I was in the Cyprus conflict, and we'd done some training on the aircraft carrier. Never been out of the country, and in the book it said, you know, to go to these places, you meet a different world outside your own country, you know, and that was quite good. Now, the reason we were sent to Cyprus, it was at the time during Archbishop Makarios, if you remember. You wouldn't have known anything what was going on. But the Turkish Cypriots were invading, trying to take over the entire island from the Cypriots. And our job was to chase gun runners, foreign ships with no proper signals or flags. You couldn't recognise what country they were from. They had to be boarded to find out that they were carrying armaments. Even little fishing boats were carrying armaments. We had to stop those in the middle of the night because they always fished at night in Cyprus. They had a big lantern over the prow of the ship to fish, and they thought they could get away with it, you see, even it was just a box of hand grenades. But we had to board, and there was just 4 of us used to do it. An officer, a petty officer, and 2 ratings. And you could be called out when you're on duty, day and night. You know, no matter what time it was. If you were on duty, if it was your watch, you could be called out. And it was quite eerie when you were going on these ships. It was like going on the old pirate ships. You visions of them standing there with a blade in their mouth, a dagger or something, you know, they were evil-looking men. And we were just armed, the two raiders, with a pickaxe handle. The officer had a revolver, a pickaxe handle. And that wasn't too pleasant. Oh, I could tell you lots of incidents about where we were shot at in a taxi. When we were based in Famagusta, that was where our base was, but our patrols were Famagusta to Limassol, Kathos, up to Perennia on the north coast, and then another ship would take over that route coming back. But on more than one occasion, there was 3 small boats, coastal minesweepers, wooden ships, wooden hulls, and the complement was 32 men, so they were quite small. The biggest thing that you could say I was a hero for was I saved the ship on more than one occasion. I was on Blue Watch, and we were leaving Malta. Our base was in Malta when we moved out there, and we were off to Cyprus. It's getting a bit disjointed now because I'm saying things that happened a bit long before. I've just been telling you things that did happen. And we were off the north coast of Africa, and this horrendous sandstorm blew up, and it covered the ship from stem to stern in yellow dust, sand, fine sand. It even got down in the lockers below decks. You open your locker and all your white tropical uniforms were covered in sand. It was so severe, and I was on duty on the bridge, and all your clothing was covered in it. And by the time that settled down, and we cleaned the ship out, a heavy storm started, and there was 3 ships in the flotilla. There was Tarleton. I was on HMS Tarleton. Then there was the HMS Exton, and for the moment I can't remember what the other one was. I think it was the same ship that Prince Charles captained when he went out on these minesweepers. It was the very same ship. And we were sailing what they call a line ahead. We were the leading ship. We had an officer on board, 2 officers on board, petty officers and ratings and signalmen, and that sort of thing, and we were leading, and we were thrown off course with the storm, and the other 2 were behind, and we lost our aerials. Apparently there was an aeroplane out looking for us, and the sea was putting out to sea to find us, a destroyer. And I've never been in such a rough sea in my life. I mean, when you say a 30-foot trough, it's a big wave, that, and you're going down one side of it and the other ship's going up the other side of it. And in the wheelhouse you can see all that happening. Then you look out through the back, and the third one is just on your tail. As you're coming up, it's going down like a helter-skelter. And I did 3 watches. I couldn't get out. We couldn't get out of the wheelhouse, which was under the bridge. And I, in order to stand up and steer the ship, keep it on an even keel, I chained myself to the wheel. And my oppo, Jimmy, he was rolling around on the floor, sick as a parrot. He couldn't even stand up. And the only thing they could do was get a message to me, but nobody could get on the bridge to do the bridge wheelhouse bit, you know. So I did I was in Blue Watch when it happened, and nobody could change over the watch system. They couldn't get out on the upper deck. It was so dangerous. So I did the White Watch, and I was just about starting to do going to another one. This is like 36 hours it takes, because you've got an hour on, an hour off, an hour on, an hour off. There's like 4 in one watch, hours.
Yeah.
So if you do 3, it's 3 4s. And I was just about beaten when somebody shouted down the voice back. And I said, "Who is it?" He said, "It's Cookie." We call the chef Cookie. He said, "I'm going to try and get some food to you." I said, "Where are you?" He said, "I'm on the bridge. I'm talking down your pipe." He said, "Have you got these enamel cups with you?" I said, "Oh yeah, we always carry an enamel cup." I said, "There was nothing to drink. We can't get any drinks or anything." I said, "We'd like a drink." Well, he said, "I'm going to try and get something down to you." He said, "Keep the cup underneath the voice piece." And he tried to get tomato soup down this pipe. Well, it went everywhere but in the cup. My white sea front was all covered in tomato sauce, tomato ketchup stuff, and it was all over the place. And it did one thing though. It brought Jimmy around. He laughed his head off. Up until that moment, he was sick as a dog, you know. He'd no time. He was moaning and groaning, and he'd been a seaman longer than me, but he just couldn't stand up.